It's a common problem. It's an age-old problem that it seems that everyone struggles with. That you always have not enough socks, meaning you only have one, you can never find its pair. But when it comes to hangers, you always have a surplus, and you can't throw them away fast enough. They just keep showing up from the cleaners from everywhere. It's one of the reasons I never buy hangers. Every yeshiva or school I've ever been to, any dormitory I've stayed at, you can always find a bevy of hangers at the bottom of the closet. One of the issues, though, is that they've been stepped on and kind of mushed, squashed. So you got to bend them back. But I learned something valuable. That if you want to bend a metal hanger back to a perfectly flat position, want the balanced hanger, you have to sometimes take it and bend it all the way to the other direction until it ends up in that perfect area, if you know what I mean. You have to go to the opposite side, and then the metal kind of shoots back to be a perfectly balanced hanger. And I was thinking that it may be a perfect muscle. For why is it that you find that the example par excellence for truth in the Torah, titain emes Yako, the Torah tells us that you give the entire essence of truth to Yaakov. That's what he is. He's all truth. How is it that he came about his greatness and manifest his godless through seemingly controversial, perhaps deceitful sounding at times practices? From the usurping of the blessings to this episode of the peeled sticks and rods with the sheep. Yaakov's all about truth. But some of these does not exactly sound like truth. But we know that there's more. Perhaps the answer is, like I once heard from a friend, that they teach in Navardik that when you want to make sure that you have total self-control, if you struggle with something, then the nisyonos are always to go to the opposite extreme. If you don't feel like giving tzedakah, well, then you give double the amount that day. If you feel lazy, then you jump out of bed that day. And that ultimately helps flatten your hanger. So maybe the nisyonos for Yaakov to reach his godless was to be tested in deceit. And he went about it still with total pure motives. Dessler speaks about this. And did it with total emes. And that's why Onkelos actually translates mirma as just chachma. It wasn't deceitful. And Avram Avinu, who's all about kindness, is tasked with slaughtering his son and ditching his father in old age. Every nisayon is being sent to the opposite extreme. Because that's how perfecting our midos works. If we want to have every midah, everything balanced, perfect equilibrium, in perfect moderation, without any extremes, but like the Rambam says, using that middle ground, perfectly balanced equilibrium of midos, well then sometimes you need to bend the hanger to the opposite direction to get that perfect amount.